vectors are not a major topic of high school algebra. They may come up once, maybe in late middle school, early high school. So if you see it on a test, on a standardized test, it won't be a very difficult question, but it may seem a little weird. Now, let me tell you what the deal is with vectors. Basically, you're adding arrows together. If I were to say, I know this problem is u minus v, but if I were to say, what's u plus v? All we would do is we would take that v arrow right there, and we would stick it on the end of u, right on the end. So that right there is u plus v. See, we first go the distance of u, and then we go like v does until we get to this point right here. So that would be u plus v. And the way I would write u plus v in vector form, or in graphical form, would be using another arrow like this to show where my final point ended up. Okay, that's the whole idea. Now it gets a little more complicated with this question, because I'm not saying what's u plus v, I'm saying what's u minus v. Okay, so let me show you what minus v looks like. Minus v is the same magnitude as v, the same bigness, but it's going in the opposite direction. Okay, so that's minus v that I just drew right there. Minus v, the vector. But I want to add u and minus v together. So what that means is I'm going to stick minus v on the ends of u. So there's my difference of the two of them. First I go in the direction of u, this distance, and then I go further up the opposite of v. Now, where's that going to put me? Let me grab a different color ink here. That's going to put me up here, and the vector describing this difference is going to go like this. From 0, 0, the starting point, to x equals 4, y equals 5. So we look around in this table of choices here, and we say, okay, well, which one of these things matches what we have? And there's our choice right there. That is u minus v. Now, if that's enough of a graphical explanation and you're happy, great. But I do want to show you a little bit of algebra, and it's very simple, of another way you could think about this if you don't love what I just did right here. So I'm going to look at u, and I'm going to describe that using vectors. The vector u is described as, I'm going to use pointy brackets, going 3 in the x direction and 2 in the y direction. Do you see how that matches this thing in the graph, right? That u vector. That is simply the x and y coordinate of its ending point. And v, if I describe it in the same way, is, hopefully you can start to see how this is coming together, -1 in the x direction, -3 in the y direction. That's the direction it's pointing in and the distance it goes. So if I want to say what's u minus v, I just subtract these numbers. So 3 minus -1 is 4. 2 minus -3 is 5. And you'll see that 4 comma 5 is the same idea as the graphical explanation I came up with. I go over 4 to the right, up 5 in the y direction. So you can choose which one you like. Both of these are equally good methods when talking about vectors. Personally, I prefer the algebra. But if you like drawing the little triangle things in the pictures, that's great too.